Good morning and a happy Valentine's Day, the day of love, one of my favorite days. Spread love, be love, share love. Share love through affirmation, encouragement, appreciation, kindness, romance, whatever you consider love. There's lots of ways to love and share love. So thank you for being with me this morning on H3 TV, where we talk about how to navigate disruption with hope, health, and happiness, even when it's hard. And today I want to say, how do we navigate disruption with love? Sometimes when we are hurting, it is so easy to be negative and crabby, but I don't want you to be that. I want you to be love, and I want you to bring love everywhere you go. Today on H3 TV, I always love to remind you, you can ask questions, you can leave comments, you can say happy Valentine's Day or peace be with you on this Ash Wednesday. Whatever you want to say, please comment if you're watching, but definitely ask questions or comments. We love the encouragement as we come live to you every week with H3 TV. I started this show when COVID hit, and I realized people needed some encouragement, and I could do it right from my computer and into your living room, your office, wherever you are. I could meet you and encourage you. Today, I have the pleasure of having with me my dear friend, Rachel. Welcome to the stage, Rachel. How are you?
Hi, everybody. I am wonderful. I'm also enjoying Valentine's Day. I got to wake up to a very loving 9-year-old who was excited to celebrate the day, spread love, share Valentine's, and have an ice cream party. So everybody should have a little ice cream today because that's a good way to love yourself.
Oh, I love that. I agree. We had apple fritters this morning. So my mother-in-law, who's 94, is visiting us this week, and she loves apple fritters. So I'm like,
Love
what
it.
a perfect way to start Valentine's Day with something she loves, little coffee, little apple fritters. So Rachel, tell us about you. Who are you? What do you do? Where do you live? All the good things.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Rachel Ryan. I live up in Minnesota. Um, And I had the pleasure of meeting Annie when we worked on a fundraiser together for human trafficking. And I was able to help her bring some of her writing vision to life because that is my heart. I love words, I love communication. Um, I was for 15 years, I was in the classroom. I was an English teacher, middle school and high school, always writing on the side, always had a heart for writing. And then in 2022, I left the classroom. I stepped into my fear and realized that the life that I wanted and that I could actually love was waiting for me if I would just step out into fear. And so that's what I did. And I started writing. I have lots of clients that I help now with courses. I do a lot of nonfiction ghostwriting. I talk to people like Annie about what their vision is and how we can bring their ideas to life. So that is really where I feel my truest sense of self is when I'm writing, when I'm working with words, when I'm communicating. I'm very talkative, maybe not as talkative as Annie, but I love to communicate. So anything having to do with words, writing, and that is going to help people be better. So I really love the genre of self-love, of memoir, where we can see how people have grown and we can take the lesson from their life and apply it to our own. I really love sharing stories and just to round it up, feeling that we're part of humanity because we all belong together. We all can love and join together and learn from each other. There's more that unites us than divides us, is what I have discovered. So,
Absolutely. So yes, that's right. Rachel and I met. She was a volunteer for an event that we were raising money and awareness around human trafficking for an organization out of Minnesota. And she is a copywriter as well. And so her and another
yes,
partner, Mandy, helped do some of the copywriting on my website. And then
that's right.
Rachel is an amazing coach, advisor, partner in writing books. So I know a lot of my listeners have this dream to write a book. It is an overwhelming project. I think of it as like having a Lamaze coach as you go through
Yes.
breathing and birthing a child. If you haven't birthed a child, it's good to have a coach. It's good to have support. It's the same thing with the book. It's a lot of labor, it's a lot of work, but it's also very personal. And so to
Yes.
have someone walk alongside you and guide you and support you on
Yes.
the best days and the hardest days is so important. And Rachel really has a gift for that. In addition to her gift in writing, really a beautiful gift is drawing out story and allowing you to express the creative vision of what you want the reader to receive. So if you're thinking about writing a book, or you've started writing a book, or you're in between writing books or whatever, Rachel's a great person to have a conversation, if not to partner with, to write your book. So I just want to say that because it has been a joy to work with you for my website.
Thank you, Annie.
And I'm so proud of my work when I know my gifting, as much as I've had 8 books, is not really writing. Between grammar and spelling and stopping the run-on sentence doesn't work for me. And with our own lens, as great as your story might be, we get stuck in our story and what we think. So we need outside influence and eyes to say, tell us more on that. Does that really matter? What are you talking about? Right? So we know, we can visualize and know what we're talking about. That doesn't mean the reader can. And partnering with someone like Rachel can really help you get clarity, direction, and support on getting that done. So thank you, Rachel, for the good work you're doing. I love the written and spoken word, and I know it has the ability to heal, to support and to spread love. And so I'm so passionate about what we say and how we say what we say in a hurting way. So I like to know, what does the word disruption mean to you? What do you think of when I say navigate disruption, or just disruption in life? Just the kind of the definition to you of disruption.
So disruption to me really partners with fear, right? So all of us, all human beings, really love comfort. Our brain is wired for comfort and security. That's what we seek all of the time. However, comfort and security are not necessarily the best things for growth. And so when I think of disruption, what I think of, like I kind of mentioned a little bit before, is stepping out from comfort and security and choosing to be uncomfortable, choosing to walk into fear and knowing that what you really want, or what is good for your physical, mental, emotional health, might be on the other side. And so disruptions can sometimes be out of your control. Maybe you got laid off from a job, maybe you're getting divorced and you weren't planning on that. But it's really how you choose to respond. And I think in those moments, there's a lot of potential for growth. And so when I hear disruption, I think it can be a negative word, but I don't want it to be. And I don't think Annie wants it to be either. I want it to be something I want us to view it as a catalyst for something even better. Even if you didn't make this choice, you can make something better from what is happening, right?
The disruption is. I like that. I think, the word that's coming to mind as you're saying this, which is a little bit different definition than some other people, is awareness. Like disruption kind of makes us take a look back and look around. Is this what I want? Am I where I want to be? Am I doing what I want to do? Am I around the right people? I always like to work with clients and say, what does your perfect day look like? And sometimes we get so stuck in a rhythm, we either never have a perfect day, or we never have a disruptive day that can, this is the way I've always done it. This is what I always do. This is how things always are, instead of saying, wait a minute, is this the right thing? Is this the best thing? So that's a great definition. Awareness, like you're really talking about broadening your span, which can be uncomfortable. Okay, so next question is, Rachel, how about you? How about you? What is a disruption in your professional or personal life that you've been impacted by?
So what immediately comes to mind is, and I'm going to speak to all the teachers out there first. So my dad was a teacher. My grandma was a teacher. I was a teacher for 15 years, as I mentioned. I worked very hard to become a teacher. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree. I did the best teaching program I could find. And so it became part of my identity, right? It became, Rachel is a daughter, Rachel is a sister, Rachel is a mom, Rachel is a friend. But first and foremost, I was a teacher, and that consumed my identity almost, right? Even more than my family. And so after COVID, when COVID hit, we were teaching via Zoom up here in Minnesota, which was not great. I started thinking about, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? Is this how I feel I can make the biggest impact? Is this what I feel like my calling still is? Because I think too, we can be in a career for 20 years without reflecting on, is this still serving me? And am I still, living to my highest potential? And in those quiet moments of COVID where I was in my house and I was teaching via Zoom, I realized I wanted to work with words more than I wanted to be in the classroom. And that was super scary because, like I said, my identity was a teacher. If you asked me, hi, Rachel, who are you? I would say I'm a teacher. I wouldn't say I'm a mom. I wouldn't say anything else. I would say I'm a teacher. And so it was probably 6 months of me really wrestling with, am I willing to disrupt my life and give up this salary, give up my tenure, give up summers off, give up all of these things and take a chance on something that potentially could, burn and fail, and then I'd be back at square one. But what happens is I learned more about myself by taking that chance than I did if I would have stayed in teaching. And now I'm a completely different Rachel than I was in 2022. And I hope in 2026, I'm another completely new version, living my highest potential, because I continue to choose to step out and disrupt what I think is my identity and question and ask, is this my highest potential? Is this, we all have our values. Is this meeting what my value is to the world? If I was going to die today, would I be happy with what I left behind? That kind of stuff. And I know those are really big questions, but teaching is a lot of bureaucracy, and I just didn't feel like I was living to my highest potential. So when I disrupted my life, it was really, really hard. It was so hard to give up that, paycheck every single, 2 weeks. But I'm so thankful.
Yeah. So I love this, Rachel, because I think this is a disruption also that I like to talk about, and it's choosing disruption. Like I choose to disrupt my own life, and I'm scared and I don't know, but I believe there's more. And I think when we take that risk of comfort zone and say, I'm going to be the one that disrupts, because I believe in greater joy. I believe in a greater purpose. I believe in, and you didn't just disrupt your career and disrupt your steady income. You disrupted your identity.
Yes.
And I think that is such a profound thing, because when you've done something, when you're the third generation of doing, it's what we have. We're teachers. This is what we do. It's not even a thought of like, Will, you're not. No, of course I am. I am a teacher. My grandma was a teacher. So I love that you chose that you said, hey, I'm scared and I'm doing it anyway. I'm uncomfortable. It's more than it's a list of 50 things, right? It's your identity. It's your friend group. It's your summers off. It's your steady paycheck. But in that disruption, there was an anticipation, a belief of what if I'm created for more, which I love working with people that say they're created for more. I'm like, yes, we all are. What is your more? What does your more look like and feel like? And how do you make that more happen? Which we can't always jump till we have a plan, especially financially or professionally, or there's loose, but how did you stay hopeful? Because you're going from being a teacher, getting paid regularly, being an entrepreneur and saying, I've got words and I can make your words better, into this entrepreneurship of teaching courses and copywriting websites and helping people write books. How did you stay hopeful in the hard parts of that, losing your identity?
Absolutely. So that's a great question. First of all, I'm just going to say you need to surround yourself with people who believe in you. And it may not be your spouse, and it may not be your mom, and it may not be your child, unfortunately. So you need to find like-minded women. And one of the first things, and I do have a supportive spouse, so I'm very lucky in that way that I had somebody cheerleading at home. I think that can make it a little easier. But I immediately went and started networking that summer, meeting with groups of women who also were stepping into entrepreneurship. So I didn't feel like I was alone. So I felt like I had people I could ask questions, I could connect with. I could say, here I am in my journey. What did you do at this point in your journey? How did you, set up QuickBooks? How did you find an accountant to do your taxes?
Yeah.
How did you meet clients? And so being around all those women entrepreneurs really started to feed my vision. And I would say even within the first 3 months of being an entrepreneur, my vision grew exponentially from being surrounded by these other women who had great visions. And I thought, you know what? I'm not even asking enough of myself. These women have done so much, and I can too. I believe in myself and I know my ability. And so I would say when you're stepping into disruption and you're choosing something different, find like-minded people, or find people, and they don't have to be on the same journey. I also had significant weight loss. And one of the things that I found that was really helpful for me was meeting not with people who were going through weight loss, but people who were going through other changes in their life. There was a support group at the YMCA where I was going that we just talked about like big changes in our life. So one woman was a widow. One man had changed careers and was starting a business. And it's just it's nice to be around people who are not just going through the motions, who really are asking the questions like, what is the greater purpose of this? What's the next step? Can you help me? Can you listen to me? Can you hold my hand? And that's what I needed. And I would say to anybody out there, find your people. They are out there and they're waiting for you. They want to connect with you.
I love that. And I love, Rachel, that example of going to the YMCA, and you had lost, this wasn't necessarily about your career, you had lost weight, a significant amount of weight. Here's someone changing careers. Here's someone, they're widowed, changing relationships. That really, it's being around people that are going through change and trying to adapt the best they can, whatever that change is, and supporting you, because people that are stuck in, this is how we've always done things, this is how I've always been, this is how it should be, are really hard. I always, tongue-in-cheek joking, say, I can't be around people that are mundane and mediocre that can settle, because I've never been a settler. I've always been like, what else? And what's next? And what could I do? And how big can we get? And being around other inspired people for whatever reason, from their health to their career to their relationships, allows you to not feel so afraid and not feel so alone. So I think a
100%.
huge way, and exactly what you're saying, is hope lies in knowing you're not alone. Hope lies in finding the supporters, the cheerleaders, and the people willing to expand their mind to get it. And sometimes teachers, as much as I love teachers too, and I have a lot of teacher friends, when you're an entrepreneur, that's a very different, I'm kind of on all the time, because I'm not done at 3. I'm always meeting people. I'm always saying, hey, I've got a book that might help you, or hey, I could speak to you. And as you, as a writer, your eyes are always open to, I want to do this course, but how could I write it? Oh, I could help with that, right? Like you have, there's an element of you always being on, not always working, but always 100%. Being aware, because your mind is open to more. And I love that, Rachel, is you really surround yourself with loving people, but also open-minded people to what's possible, not what is, but what could be. And there's a beauty and a growth in that. Rachel, when we get out of habits, when we get out of the habit of, I get up, I go to work, I'm a teacher, this is, it's really easy to get unhealthy financially, get unhealthy physically, emotionally, get overwhelmed, lose track of our spirituality, we've lost or changed our career. How did you stay healthy in any of the areas of health when everything's brand new? Like, oh my gosh, what does my day look like if I'm in charge? People always ask me, who's your boss? And I'm like, she won't give me a day off. She's crazy. Then like, aren't you the boss? I'm like, yes, that'd be me. I'm the boss. So when you're your own boss, you got to figure out how to be disciplined and all that. So how did you stay healthy in any area, from health, physical to emotional to career, financial?
Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. I think that people don't realize entrepreneurship, just to go back to what you said, it's all day, every day. I didn't realize when I went into entrepreneurship how much work there would be off the clock, off of the, in teaching, you work long days. I mean, I had days where I worked 10 hours easily, no problem, grading papers, responding to emails, but this is a little bit different. Whereas when I'm networking, I'm not working on writing, right? So then I have to work on writing later at night. So it's really, it's a lot of work, but it's such wonderful work too. So thank you for acknowledging that, Annie. I really appreciate that, because it's a lot. How I balanced was that I really made, so for me, I love to walk. I have a dog, his name is Chester. He is my baby. He's actually, here's my water bottle, and it's all pictures of Chester, because he is like my soul dog. I've had other dogs, but Chester's just love. Chester and I would walk every morning. That was the first priority every day when I got up. I needed to walk. Sometimes I would listen to music because I just didn't want to go right into work mode. And I knew I needed to move my body. I get some of my best ideas. I think Annie shared this too, when I'm walking. And so the first thing I did before I did anything else was get up and I'd walk Chester. We usually walk about 4 miles, depending on the weather. I am in Minnesota. So if it's too like colder, whatever, then we can't go as far. But I'd walk, I'd listen to music, I would do some spirituality practice while I'm walking. But it was a good way to ground myself for the rest of the day because I knew there were some days I was working, 10 hours and it was driving to a networking meeting with a client over Zoom, then doing 4 hours of writing or whatever. And I wouldn't be able to sustain that pace without taking care of my physical body first. And so that's what in my emotional. I also ended every day by journaling. And I hate using that word because people like hear journaling and they're like, I don't want to journal or I'm not a journaler or whatever. But I have a journal that is I just jot down like 3 to 4 sentences. There's no pressure about how long it has to be. I am a writer. I write all the time. So I certainly could write much more than that. But I really just want like, what were my wins for the day? What am I thankful for? What do I want to accomplish tomorrow? It kind of just a wrap up of the day. And it's a good way for me to sort of brain dump, just get rid of any lingering thoughts before I, hang out with my family and watch Bob's Burgers or snuggle with my son or make dinner or walk Chester again. He is a spoiled boy and he does get 2 walks a day. So I wanted to have a ritual where I sort of closed the day. And so for me that 3 to 4 sentences was my ritual that I put in place where I sort of closed the day and I said, okay, I'm done being an entrepreneur for today. And now I'm going to be mom Rachel or wife Rachel or walk the dog Rachel or, whatever it may be, or just reading in a cozy chair and drinking my coffee because I deserve it after working so long. I don't know, Annie, what do you think? What are some ways that you keep your physical, mental, and emotional health in check as you're on all the time?
Yeah, you said 2 things, and one kind of reminded me of something I want to say to those of us that are entrepreneurs out here. But the first thing is I'm 100% believer, in my newest book and workbook, I write about what's in your medicine cabinet. And
Yes.
for me, my medicine cabinet has movement and music because music and movement is my medicine for my mind and my soul and my body. And movement is so much more than your physical. It is a stress reliever. It is uplifting music, which I don't tend to listen to headphones. I have very sensitive ears. So I just listen to the ocean waves. I listen to myself singing. I sound amazing to myself. But movement and music is such a good, and I use the word grounded. And that was my word for the year. And I really have felt so ungrounded since the hurricane hit our home.
Absolutely.
That how do you get back to grounded? Yes. Walking. Yes. Music. Yes. Movement of any kind, and having unconditional love from a pet. Not everyone should have a pet. It was the first time for Greg and I as adults got Peanut and then Leo, and just learning how to be loved by a pet, like without any judgment on your worst day and your best day. So I love that you have Chester. But something important that you said, Rachel, that I want the listeners to think about, and I'm terrible at this, so thank you for the reminder, Rachel. So writing at the end of the day, not the journaling part of it so much, but this is something that you said that for me, I'm always what's next, which there's a beautiful gift in what's next, but I don't very, very rarely ever take the time to celebrate how far I've come.
Right.
And about a month or so ago now, 2 different men named David in a 2-day period, both said to me, like, I'm going to cry telling you the story, but both were telling me like how proud they were of me and how they looked to me as like the benchmark for success
so
and
beautiful.
drive, and that I didn't even have a book when I met either of them. And now I have 8 books, and that I'm speaking, and then I'm doing all this great work in the world. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Like they were like, do you understand? Like you're our benchmark. You're what we're, and I was like, what? And then what I realized, and what you said, Rachel, which is I think so important for our entrepreneurs, is I don't have a boss saying good job. I don't have a bonus check. So if I do not take the time, which I rarely do, but you are reminding me, so I might start and write down what was my win for the day. And maybe the win was a great conversation. Maybe it was finishing a chapter in a book. Maybe it was a networking opportunity where someone said, I want to learn more. Can I meet with you again?
Yes.
all of those are wins. And as entrepreneurs, there's so much responsibility on our shoulders that
Yes.
I'm always, what next? What else should I be doing? That I
Yes.
don't take the time. And I love the idea of taking the time, and maybe not even journaling, though I like that reflective piece. I love routines and rituals, not rules, but to write down the wins and to say, Annie, so what? So you didn't speak today, but look what you did, dude. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you had a coaching client. Oh my gosh, you got that beautiful testimonial on Amazon. Oh my, like, I am so busy
Yes.
getting to what's next that I don't give myself that time and space to celebrate the wins. And I think as an
100%.
entrepreneur, when there are a lot of, like when people say you're so great at sales, I'm like, no, I'm good at rejection. So when you get a win, whatever that win is, little or big, by yourself or by a client, celebrate, document that. So on the hard
Yes.
days when you don't have a win, you can go back and remember. So I love that, Rachel. I think that's really a part of being healthy. We can have such comparison or beat ourselves up, but
Yes.
when 20
100%.
steps ahead. But if I
Yep.
look at what is the one thing I did today to impact the world, to make a difference, to spread love, to use my words, written or spoken, to inspire, that's a
Yes.
win. So I love that, Rachel. So important and beautiful. And one thing, and I think we both love this very much, is happiness and humor.
Yes.
And how did you find humor and happiness on the hard days when you didn't have a win, when you were thinking, what the heck was I thinking? I got to get back to school and become a teacher, and it's summer, and why am I not on vacation? My friends are. What did you do to find laughter, humor, happiness in the midst of that stuff?
Okay, well, certainly having a 9-year-old helps with that. But here's my dirty little secret. Is everybody ready? When I'm having a bad day, I love to go on YouTube or Instagram and watch funny videos, and it really just changes my day. It brings a smile to my face. I love to laugh. Annie knows I love to laugh. We laugh together all the time. And I love silly videos. I also love videos that teachers make from the classroom, and it reminds me why I don't want to why I don't want to go back. Like students calling their teachers bra, like, hey bra, what's up? And I don't want that to happen to me. So I'm not going back. But happy videos. I mean, there's so many people out there with great humor, and they want you to smile and they want you to be happy. And that is really an easy, lighthearted way to turn the day around. And just to go back to the wins just for 1 second, when I'm having a bad day, one of the great things about writing down my wins is I can go back and look at them. And a lot of times I forgot how great that day was, or how great that testimony was, or how great that writing session was, or meeting that person. And reading the wins, I'm like, I'm doing better than I thought I was. I really, and we can hold ourselves to such a high standard, and it's easier to think of all the negative stuff and put ourselves down. But when we look at the wins and we're like, I've really done a lot. Like, I'm amazing. Isn't this great? It is really helpful in turning your attitude around. So I would say looking back at your wins, watching funny videos on Instagram or YouTube.
I
So
love both of those. I love to watch comedy. I love to laugh. I'm mostly laughing at myself. I love to be with friends
neat.
who can laugh at each other. And it's like, we're not being mean. We're just like dorks, and we're aware of
No,
that. We accept
that's
that.
right. We're
Wonderful.
dorks.
We love it. I think that's really, yeah, the wins is important. Like I rarely even glance back, let alone look back at all that
No.
I've accomplished in the last 12 years, because I'm so busy thinking about what's next and what else can I do. And I love that aspect of my personality, but it also can be exhausting. And
Yes.
so the one area that I don't always get to talk to people about, but that I wanted to talk to you about today on this very special Valentine's Day, is how do we as entrepreneurs, when there is a lot of rejection in being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of days, there's a lot of interviews, there's a lot of conversations that turn out, I'm going to go in a different direction, not right now.
Yeah.
and and how do you continue to love yourself, love people, and love your work in the midst of the hard parts? There's a lot that people don't see about our work. They see us when we're shining bright and we're celebrating a finish line and a success. But there's a lot of times people don't see all the rejection or exhaustion or the late at night when you're like, okay, I got to do just one more thing. How do you love yourself, love your work, and continue to have a generous and loving spirit toward those people that sometimes disappoint us, that we look forward to working with and it doesn't work out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that It's really helpful to know that nothing is personal. So when somebody chooses to go in a different direction, or someone rejects you, or someone says, I'm going to choose to work with this person over you, or we chose a different speaker, we can take everything so personally. And that's where the hurt and the, am I even cut out to do this? Am I in the right profession? That kind of thing. But really, nothing is about us. Nothing is personal. We're the ones that make it personal. So I'm not perfect at this. I have to remind myself all the time when I get rejection, which happens all the time. And thank you for bringing that up, Annie, that I am my biggest cheerleader, and I have to remind myself, Rachel, it's not about you. It's about it's about their event. It's about their budget. It's about, they want more word count in a shorter period of time than you can produce, whatever it may be. It's not really about me. And I'm not meant to work with everybody, and that's okay. That's something I've had to tell myself from day one, that I am Rachel. I'm not meant to work with every single person. I'm only meant to work with the people that Rachel's meant for. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So how I remind myself and love myself through that rejection and through not taking it personally is to look at all of the things I have produced, right? So sometimes I'll pick up a book that I've ghostwritten. Sometimes I'll look back at the courses that I've written and look at all the great work that I've done. And I know, right, I get warm fuzzies thinking about all of the people that have read those words, and they've been helped, and they've been healed, and they've been, brought maybe hopefully to peals of laughter or moments of joy or awe. And my words did that for them. And so remembering the value that I bring and loving myself through rejection is just realizing, like, it's not personal. It's not always about me. And it's not, that I'm not nice enough, or I'm not, in the right state, or I'm a girl and not a boy. It's none of that stuff. It's just, this is what was meant to happen. It's not personal. I also, too, here's another secret. I write little love letters to myself sometimes when I'm feeling really sad, or little love Post-its. I'll put them all over to help on those really tough days when you go through, it seems like 3 weeks of work and you haven't produced any leads, and you're like, what the heck? I've been working my butt off and I don't have anything to show for it. Looking back at those Post-its or looking at those love notes really helps propel me. And you just have to get around the next corner, and there's somebody waiting for you, waiting for your words, waiting to hire you, all that wonderful stuff. And, and of course, bubble baths are great. Walking on the beach is great. Taking a day off sometimes is really helpful, and not focusing on the work. And when you're an entrepreneur, you feel like you have to work every single day, Saturday and Sunday included. So just saying, you know what, I'm feeling low. I need to take a day and spend it in the sunshine, read a book, drink more coffee than you actually should.
Talking to your friends and laugh, smile, and tell the stories, share the stories, share the life experience.
Help people you're suffering.
Yeah. I feel like you're talking about the 4 agreements, right? Don't take it personal, which is so hard to do when it's our work. We're not selling a candy bar or soap. We're selling us. We're saying, trust in my work, trust in my words, trust in my writing, trust in my speaking. And so it's hard not to take it personal, but it's possible. I love you write yourself love notes. That's so important. I call them, a lot of people say affirmation notes. Some people say love notes, you're saying, and I say belief cards, because I try to tell people, when you write those, we're writing belief cards because someday we will believe them. We might not yet, but if we repeat them enough, we'll start to believe them. Because anything we repeat enough, the good, the bad, and the ugly, we start to believe. So I love that you write the good stuff. I'm also a huge believer, and today seems the perfect day to remind you of one of my many beliefs. It's not an apple a day that keeps the doctor away. It's a Dove love. So a Dove love gives you a love note and a little piece of dark chocolate or sweet chocolate.
I love it. I love it.
So
That's
awesome. Give Dove love away to everyone I meet. Share those love notes and chocolate. Rachel, I want to know, is there anything looking back to before you retired from being a teacher? Do you wish you knew something then that you didn't know? Like, there's been a surprise of, like, all right, I'm going to work myself. It's going to be easier. It's going to be better, blah, blah. Is there anything you wish you could tell that younger teacher that's imagining is their life beyond teaching, beyond that identity and that job? Is there
Yeah.
something you wish you knew?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love for people not to wait as long as I waited, because we all have a gift. It needs to be shared with the world. And there are people who are meant to be teachers forever, and their gift is being with children. And I support that 100%. Those are the people I want to be with my son, for sure. For those people who feel stuck in whatever career, um, it's going to be okay. You should step out sooner. Um, it's not as scary as you think it is, honestly. There are a lot of people out in the world taking risks, and you want to be one of the people, like we talked about the growth mindset. You want to be one of the people who's growing and not staying stagnant. Um, so take that chance. And really, the thing that you need to know, regardless if you just change careers or go into entrepreneurship or go back to school, go back to college, start a nonprofit, whatever it may be, is that it's going to be more work than you think it is. It just is. There is no way you can plan for how much work it's going to be. It is going to be more work than you think it's going to be, and you're probably going to need more money than you think you will need. So if I'm thinking back,
I think I lost Rachel. So that is Rachel Ryan. I will have her share her the best way to get in touch with her if you're looking for a coach, an advisor to write a book, to create or enhance the copy on your website, or to do, it sounds like she does online course writing as well, or course writing. And so any different writing project that you're working on, from a workbook to a book to an online course, if you want to upgrade your writing, then reach out to Rachel Ryan. I am going to close this out today by just saying happy Valentine's Day. I love your support and encouragement as I journey on as a speaker, as a writer, a trainer, a facilitator. I do a lot of consulting recently. I'm grateful for that work. And I just want to say happy Valentine's Day. Go spread love. And don't make this day about what's lacking. Make it about what you have the ability to give. Give love to your coworkers, give love to your family, to your friends, to your neighbors. Go get some Dove loves and pass them out. Surprise people with a little piece of chocolate with a little love note inside and encourage them. Valentine's Day is about spreading love and appreciation in all that we do. So thank you for being with us today on H3 TV. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week. Take care.